let's not forget that with that comes extra lives. It could be a big, big, important outcome for these teams. 3 points, 4 points for FaZe, 3 points for Rogue, 5 points for SSG. Still all very, very tight in there. A very, very close matchup, and they are going to be going for this one. The easiest answer for Rogue, if they want that top spot, is a full 3-point win. Simple as that. There are other things that could happen depending on the results, but I'm going to keep it simple. 3 points for Rogue, sees them in the upper bracket.
What we're going to do quite simply here, right? We'll talk about the stakes of this game. We'll ignore what's going on in the other stream until it's concluded, because it will finish at some point during this map. It will be overdone and dusted. So here, if Rogue 2-0, they jump over SSG. If they don't get 2-0, then they won't jump over SSG. It is literally that simple. We'll update you on exactly what else that means once we've seen the conclusion of what's going on the A stream. But here, we'll kick things off. SSG versus Rogue. Ban phase is done. Finka, Mozzie, probably the two bans you look at there and go, oh, little bit spicy. We know exactly how much SSG likes to be around those. So two big bans here that could have quite a notable impact. This is a map pip coming through from Rogue. They want to get down and dirty, want to get a little bit fraggy with each other and bring some heat into the server, whereas SSG stepping into Clubhouse, Dubhouse after this one. We'll see how well they fare against Rogue on their own map pick to kick things off. Kitchen and Service going to be the first site of choice. And looking across them selections there, Tim, I'm looking towards Vigil, Malusi, Oryx, potentially even the Wamai, and just seeing SSG wanting to get out in the site and get busy. I draw back to a very, very good game back at the major 3 months ago, where we had Furia against SSG on this exact map. I fell in love with Coastline. I didn't fall in Coastline, you know, okay. They haven't really got good health and safety standards there.
A few people are going to fall in Coastline, I think, over the next hour.
It's just one of those that you look at and just think it's not particularly well protected on health and safety, is it? Look at that, like, cart in the corner with the, I don't know, the barrels next
barrels
to it.
everywhere.
Yeah, it's just dangerous.
It's a trip hazard, that.
It is, yeah. Well, I fell in love with Coastline again, was what I was going to say. Not that I particularly had much love for it in the first place, but that was such a banging game. It was 8-7 to Fury in the end, I believe. It really was a game of two halves, and I hope we get the same between these two teams.
I think we are. I think we're going to see a little bit of a war. For me, Rogue needs to come out with a good performance here on Coastline. Taking SSG to Clubhouse is never going to be an easy task. It's called Dubhouse for them for a reason, and they will be very, very keen to close it out in two, I would have no doubt. It's probably the latest start that I think any of the teams have had to a final game, so they're going to be looking to get this one done, get themselves off to bed, and then they can enjoy that day off tomorrow. I'm sure
that's your internal monologue
that come with it, but
that's your internal monologue being like, please. I mean, it may well come down to it. Let's keep an eye on Prano as well, because he's playing on the Buck. No sledge in sight, which means those nades aren't available. This probably is more coming down to the expectation of they'll be starting on Hookah and Billiards or Penthouse, and they want to do some damage from below. But quite a versatile operator. The Buck can be used for attacking downwards or attacking upwards. Just tends to be a little better at attacking upwards, as no one else can really fulfill that role. Ace is here trying to get rid of some utility sat inside a Service, and will do so quite successfully. The shield in front of Sky is gone, and he's holding one of the sweatiest pixel angles I think I've ever seen.
I don't think they come much tighter than that one does. Just down the side of the bomb chassis onto Service doors. Guys is going to have to turn his attention towards the kitchen window for the time being. Hot and cold on the upstairs. Just looking to hold them out of main door, but it's going to be Fultz who beats him to it. Getting that opener onto Ace. On the Zafir, I presume Ace has just moved away from Service door and was looking to get himself into the map. Now then, hot and cold. I tell you what, SSG are just looking aggressive to begin with here. They're looking for the jump outs. They're looking for the peaks. They're just looking to get themselves in the mix. Crying's thinking about going in through this window, but Skies is definitely aware of his presence there. He's going to actually smoke that out just to slow things down, because there's a potential push from Service door as well, but he's got plenty of backup at the minute as Skies. We've got Rampy just waiting on that door from Sunrise through into the kitchen, and that could be a very long angle on towards the Service door.
Good. Sky still tucked in quietly here, just waiting for a swing to come in from either side. It's either going to be the kitchen window or it's going to be Service entrance. The other three members of SSG, two of them scattered up on the top floor. You've got Fultz playing outside towards Courtyard, and a great swing comes in from Skies. Finds the headshot. Prano getting hot and cold in response before Crying frags back. Skies makes it a double. He is holding down. He is the king of kitchen. Refuses to be moved out, and Prano's left in a 1 versus 3. It's looking dominant for SSG in round one, Tim.
Fultz has done a great job for the North American side here in round one, just completely commanding main lobby, and we know that it's a super important spot on Coastline. It really prevents the push from that side of the map over towards kitchen and service, so it just means that the players inside a site, they can focus on service entrance, they can focus on kitchen window, they don't need to worry about the bathroom push, and Fultz has really made that a reality for them. Prano, super low health here, he's got about 3 hit points left, and he's trying to just work with what he can here, see if he can get a little pixel onto somebody, but with 15 seconds left to go, it's very unlikely that he's going to be able to do anything here. I think the time is probably better used just having a chat with the team, what's gone wrong there, shoot this bush, you know, just see the round out.
And just look at the bullet spray, you know, just remind yourself of what that looks like on the skeleton key in case you ever really needed to know that. A cozy first round. Sky's, for me, the MVP of the round. We could do that, Tim. We could give an award each round to the MVP of the round. And then we could do like a little award ceremony at the end.
Personally, I'd go with Fultz on that one.
You go with Fultz? Why Fultz? Come on, let's discuss. We are the judges here, quite literally. Why Fultz?
As I said, I think Fultz had a big round in behind main lobby. He played in behind that reception desk. He got the opener onto Aces. Then he shut another one down towards the end of the round. And he just made it very, very difficult for Rogue to get themselves inside of the map there. Every time they tried, they came up against Fultz. And he just held them back. And that facilitated Skies to do what he did inside of service.
To a level, Skies was being pressured by 2 people outside service entrance. Had Cryan sat on the kitchen window. And I thought, look, you are basically in a 1 versus 3. You've got 1 outside kitchen hallway, you've got 2 planed upstairs, you've got 1 down inside the lobby. He's on his own inside there. Any grenades that come singing in, you could see him flicking between the kitchen window, between service entrance, and still found 2 kills without going down. Big round for Skies himself in the round on the smoke, so let's call it a tie and give him a gold medal each. How's that sound?
Why not? Everybody gets a medal.
Everybody's a winner in Tim's world.
You know I'd love that, Des.
I'm sure you would. You're the kind of person I hate, I hope you know that. I love you really, Tim.
Of course you do.
We had a big cuddle before we came down for this game, didn't we?
It was needed.
It was needed. Alrighty, let's look at round number 2. Looking here towards the Jaeger and the Wamai, so big time utility catch. Going to be needed in the round, given there are 4 frags on the side of Rogue. In the current meta, that feels quite light, or not really light. It's kind of middle of the park, right? Some teams bring 6. We saw 8 get brought along a couple of times yesterday. 2 tends to be too little to clear out all of the utility that you need, unless you've got a Zofia on side. So we'll keep an eye on that. Also looking in towards the Mute Jammers and the Vigil. You know, given what we know of SSG in their tried and tested, almost trademark setup coming through on a map like Clubhouse, we know how much they love playing around the Intel denial game. And here they're looking to catch Rogue out with that. And to be fair, already doing a brilliant job. They've chewed through 3 drones already. As a reminder, you only have 9 in the top right corner of the screen. 3 on the field, 3 in back pocket. Twitch's 2 drones do not count towards that total, but her 1 normal one does. So when Twitch is in the lineup, you only have 9 rather than the normal 10.
Bosco just playing underneath, Nitro in hand. He's not going to catch anybody out just yet. He could get himself a couple of drones, but that will not be what he's looking for from that Nitro. Rogue have made quick progress inside of VIP here. They've dipped back out for the time being. Bosco, I don't know whether he's got a little bit of information just being fed into him or not. He's playing it into a common area. It's going to be too far away. Leon does take some damage, but he's on that concrete floor inside a Hall of Fame, which is going to keep him safe for the time being at least. But what it does tell me is that SSG are well aware of exactly where this push is coming from. Hot and cold on the Vigil, going to try and keep himself mobile, wants to just try and make some sort of impact onto that push, but it's not easy here on Coastline to get yourself upstairs to make a challenge, especially when there's a Nomad on the board. I would expect the top of White Stairs to have been air jabbed off, so Hot and Cold has no choice but to rotate up Cool Vibes, and it kind of takes him out of the fight a little bit. He's not going to be able to hit them on the flank.
Well, you got Bosco and Rampy potentially looking for a big flank here, both working their way through security together underneath where Rogue are currently getting set up. There's an air jab on these stairs, so we've got to be quite careful about things, and between the 2 of them could get quite a lot done. Not forgetting that Bosco will be sat here with the shotgun in hand, daring someone to come pushing on a tight corner, whereas Rampy, walking around with that carbine, can do a little bit more range damage. Cryan, daring someone to step out for the swing here, but again, they're not 100% sure as to what's going on either. Like ships in the night, passing each other silently, at least for now, but you know that's not going to be long until that gets explosive, Tim.
Absolutely not. Rogue are starting to push forward here. They're taking ground inch by inch. They've got themselves established inside Aquarium. They're looking at potentially pushing out of VIP as well, which they have indeed done. Got themselves into the corridor. Here it comes. Des are pushing forward. Skies gets one with the shotgun. Folks, they're finding a brick wall, but somehow Rogue managed to smash it to pieces. 2v2 as Bosco comes back into sight, and that is going to be ripped down as well. We're effectively in a 1v1 now. It's Prano versus Rampy. Prano has case in hand. 18 seconds left to go. Rampy, he sees the legs. He knows he's going for the pickup, I think. There's the attempt, and there's the response. Rampy able to shut the man down as the buck opens the wall for him, gives him the line of sight. That's going to be SSG taking round 2.
Sky's giving it large already. I'm here for it. These boys have been ready to play for a couple of hours, so you know full well they're here to give it full bottle as the last game of group stage is really starting to heat up. You know, Prano's that kind of cool, calm, collected player that in a 1 versus 1 you expect to come out on top. But Rampy, just a little bit better this time around. 2-0 to SSG, and we go into the less common side, should we say. Penthouse and Theatre. It's growing in popularity for sure. We're seeing a number of setups come through as well. Castle really enabling this side to be played well. Some teams in Europe have taken to basically opening up every soft wall you can see and play on 90 behind a shield. You stack ADSs there. You have magnets, for example. Looking towards what they've got here, they'll probably have some kind of opening up into VIP as well to challenge onto Rogue when they get control of it. And it's that change to VIP that has made this a more viable site to play. The double wall up towards the north can now be reinforced. Thank you very much, Sayonara, observer for this game. And if you have a Kai, for example, you can electrify it off. They don't have that here in this round, but they can comfortably still contest in towards VIP. Again, assuming they want to play in 90, they may just choose to play elsewhere instead and use this more of a funnel to get back to site later in the round.
Going to be a rotation opened from VIP out into the corridor on either side of the room. We've got one into the elbow and one down at the far side near Hook.
And the third?
Well, now, the rotation that you see over on the right-hand side of the wall as we look at it gives a long line of sight in from Theatre as well. So there's challenges that can be made all the way through into VIP. It's going to make it very difficult to Rogue to get themselves established and remain safe in there. We've got punch holes all the way across from Penthouse. It's almost turned into Swiss cheese, this site does.
Yep, it's like I say, you basically open up the vast majority of soft walls and can contest it from inside of 90 corridor. Rather than having a shield on 90 to play behind, though, they're keeping it quite fluid. And again, I clock that they barricaded off all 3 windows facing into courtyard, the 2 inside of luggage, meaning someone can play there very comfortably, and the 1 also in the VIP hallway. So really, anyone getting on roof will be looking for a kill. They're not going to have much luck at finding any, given everything has been closed off. It does mean that SSG can basically treat this top 4 like one massive donut, though. Just keep on running around in circles, keep on making good use of the cover provided by the laser gates, by the castle barricades. Lots that Rogue need to work their way through. However, as we were speaking about earlier on between Dan1 Kia and Na'Vi, sometimes just go straight to site. Forehead, forget about clearing the entire top floor, just look towards the prize and get that diffuser down.
Got a man on double window, 1 on roof as well, and 1 working underneath. So Rogue spreading themselves out here, not really looking to push towards VIP. What a beautiful one-tap from Leon there. Just manages to find the head of Fultz, and a little bit of respect shown in the chat as well. The nice shot coming out from Fultz. It was an absolute beauty from the F2, and that is going to be a good opener for Rogue. Puts them 5-4, but we're almost halfway through, sorry, just over halfway through the round. They need to start thinking about getting those boots into sight. Sky's still holding down the tight angle. He knows that the push is coming. He's completely smoked out. He's trying to find an alternative angle, but that's just allowed Rogue to start moving into sight. But here's where the peak holes come into play. They are absolutely everywhere, and there is an angle to be found from almost anywhere on this top floor.
Absolutely. If Aces swings in here, he might be able to do some damage. In fact, it's crying with a nade coming in. Rampy falling off the board. I was going to say, a limited number of C4s on side. Skies with 1 in the back pocket. It's the only one they've got. And I thought we might see that come swinging out towards Bathroom, but they didn't hear the diffuser going down, and therefore didn't bother. Playing on these longer ranges. Hot and Cold finds 1, immediately traded out by Crying. A 4v2, make it a 4 versus 1. Rogue have finally found a way into the game, and Bosco's got it all to do. We'll find 1 back the other way, but the diffuser is going down.
A lot of work for Bosco here. Sees one man, can't take the shot. Diffuser will be confirmed. And now he's got to start trying to work back in when they know exactly where he is. Look at that. There's one on the double wall just waiting for him to peek this one, heading onto the upside down rappel. It will be Crying ultimately that finds Bosco and shuts it down. Rogue, they wake up and they find round number 3.
Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Slowed things down a little bit. Got that entry kill coming in onto Fultz with Leon finding him on the window. Tried to bait it out, I think, with the smokes as well, because there's always the fear that, okay, a drop's going to happen. They're going to make a move. They're going to do something when you see the smokes. But not quite for Rogue. It was more just a ruse, a distraction. So you could say 2-1 as SSG now find themselves losing that first round on the map. We've finished the first quarter and we'll go back through the same site rotation once again. Starting out in kitchen and service. Last time round, you gave Fultz the MVP. I was a Skies fanboy for just a few seconds. Held down kitchen incredibly well. I feel if they unseat Skies by getting vertical control, he can't swing and find one on the window to his west, one out towards service entrance. Rogue can have a bit more pressure on site that way. So I'd hope, at least in this round, we'll see a bit more coming in from, say, Prano, potentially from the Sledge of Crying, the nades that will come out of Aces as well. They've got a lot of tools to make you move to.
Certainly do. We're going to have the kitchen set up once again. SSG were able to defend this successfully back in round 1. They're going to try to hold on to it again. They actually had a decent defensive rotation there. We expect a bit of success for the attackers on Coastline. SSG being able to lock down 2 sites would potentially leave them looking at a 4-2 if they can do the same again. It will all depend on that 3rd site potentially. But for now, they're going to try kitchen. They were very solid here last time around. Rogue struggled to get into the building. They struggled to make any real progress towards the objective. They were sort of tentatively poking at service door, kitchen window, but they just couldn't really get themselves established inside. Hot and Cold was never really dealt with out on the roam. Fultz locked down the main lobby, and they just didn't really understand him, but it just seems to have gone by the wayside as Leon's got himself inside a Sunrise very quickly, and he's going to shut down the Oryx of Ramp, who I think, to be honest, was probably a little bit surprised that he was there.
That was kind of I get to one side of the door, oh crap, there's a guy there, turn around, try and bail, but gets caught up in the gunfight that he simply can't win. A good start for Rogue and maybe a little bit overconfident by Rampy there, assuming that Rogue wouldn't be inside the building already. So once again, a 5 versus 4, just like in the last round. It's far from round ending. It is a Roman that you've cleared off after all, but does give Rogue a bit more space to play with.
Hot and Cold going to hold that vertical angle down into Sunrise for the time being. It is a very skinny one. It's difficult sometimes to catch people as they move around underneath. We've got the nades raining in to try and soften things up on site. Skies is just going to relocate that shield and give himself an alternative angle to watch onto the kitchen window instead. A little bit more protection, especially from that Sunrise door as well, now that the call will have come that Leon's moving in that way.
Low drones coming in for Rogue as well, so they're going to have to start making moves with the information they've got very shortly, or just going for it and hoping they can win out the gunfights. Hot and Cold still inside a lobby. No attempt from Rogue to take control of that side of things. They've got Sunrise, they've got Aces on service, and that is all they feel they need to make this push happen.
Hot and Cold finds himself in the bathroom looking through to service. Sees his man but can't quite find him. Prano is going to find him on the return though. Sends him a message and takes him down. There goes Aces. And it's going to be 5 versus 2 now. And this one's going quickly in the direction of Rogue as they try to level things up. Prano's getting the diffuser down as Leon manages to find Fultz. It's all up to Bosco. Where have we said that before? This time it's a flawless round for
something to them. We find ourselves going back in then to round number 5. And there's a pick I haven't seen in a good long while, Tim. It's going to be the Rook coming out for Hot and Cold.
A good old Rook. So if anybody's not seen Rook before, we've got quite a few new viewers knocking about. What does Rook do? Well, he's got some armor plates. He's going to pop them down. They're almost like little t-shirts there. And everyone's going to run in and grab one. And
bulletproof t-shirts.
But for a headshot, it's going to guarantee that you go down but not out. So it
gives you 20 HP now, doesn't it?
It's 20 HP, yes. So it just it's giving you that extra little bit of juice.
You can bullet sponge a bit more.
Exactly.
Juggernaut, for those back in the day that may remember. He's sponging. Used to hear that scream many a time in a certain lobby. It's one of those. They can soak bullets all day long. Admittedly, 20 HP, not an absolute ton. In some gunfights, it will be one more bullet. In other cases, none at all. Especially if it's a headshot.
Exactly that. The headshot will still be lethal in one. We've got a little bit more awareness this time from Bosco over on the Sunrise side. Leon able last time to move in there very, very quickly and get himself the opener onto Rampy. I'm sure that SSG aren't going to get caught out like that again. They're going to be very much awake at the beginning of this round this time around. Not going to want to go a man down quite so quickly.
Absolutely. Just a bit of caution on their side. I mean, Rampy's on a Maestro, right? He's not quite going to be the guy that's charging around a map and going mental. And it feels overall in the competition, outside of maybe faults on the Ella, that they are wanting to play this one just a little bit more passively, not get themselves out into so much of the map. It started well for them, but clearly started to wear out after a couple of rounds. And I do like how Lycan has stepped in and called the timeout early on. Some teams let this be an issue all the way through the game, and when you've got one round left until you lose, then you call the timeout and try to course correct, by which time it's too late. Better to make the micro adjustments early that get you on the right course later into the game than to try and course correct when you're already heading for face first into a crash.
One Man Magnet's going to grab out the first nade that goes in, doing a good job of keeping that shield intact and also keeping Skies safe, but not keeping Full safe as Ryan gets in and gets himself an opener. Still a couple of those Rook armor plates left over as well. Always a frustration as a Rook player shouting, who's not got their armor? Well, there's two people on the side of SSG that are lacking that additional HP, and it could come back to bite them. Hot and Cold looking to get himself a little peek out onto the main lobby there. This could be good. Oh, it's agony for him. It's just a couple of pixels short. The man will not step far enough back. Rips, maybe not quite knowing just how lucky he is.
Lucky enough to not be losing his life. Steps in straight into one of the Ella Grishmot mines. Of course, isn't going to find himself shot out as Hot and Cold was holding a very narrow angle above. In fact, he's really unlucky because they bolted straight over the bar and just about avoided him. Leon, once again, going to find an entry. I believe that's 3 rounds in a row now that Leon has picked up the entry, 2 of them onto Rampy as well. Won the Oryx, won this round. And look at that, Tim. In the space of 10 seconds, it's gone from a 5v5 all the way down to a 5 versus 1.
This is getting cheeky in the chat there. Thank you for the Rook armor. He's gone inside a sight and picked one of those 2 that were left up, Des, and it closes out a flawless round as there's nothing more to be done for SSG. And I think we're starting to see a little bit of why Rogue wanted a game on Coastline.
And how much Prano really wants it as well. Giving a bit of lip back after Skies went off in round 2. It's a much slower start, or a much slower mid-game, I guess you could call it, for SSG. Rogue looking very good, and even after a timeout, they're still slamming their way through SSG. The one thing I will give, I know that Coastline, I think it was Dev who was rifling through the numbers upstairs. I think Coastline is currently like the second most attacker-sided leaning map. Bank, interestingly, is the most attacker-leaning map, which for me was quite surprising. But that's where we find ourselves. If Rogue can get themselves to 4-2, then at least it's sticking with the stats. For SSG, they'll be probably ruining a little bit. They didn't get more done in this half because the last 3 rounds, they have basically been non-existent.
Up to the top floor we go then. Hooker it will be. We saw this defended back in round 2. SSG were able to lock it down. It was the last defensive round that they won. It came down to a 1v1 at the end. I mean 1v2 technically, but one of the Rogue players was down. Prano didn't really have an opportunity to resuscitate his teammate, and I think it was Rampy who was able to finish it off from the hallway just outside of VIP door. But this time, Rogue, they're going to be looking to stretch it that little bit further. They're not going to be looking for that 1v1. They're going to be looking to put another round on the board. 3-2 now. They've managed to get themselves 2 on the attack. 3 rounds in a row as well. Seeming kind of unstoppable at the minute. As you say, Leon, 6 kills. 3 of them on entry, going very, very well for them.
Crying at 7-2 as well. It's just good seeing different members get the names on the board as well. You know, you look at this team lately and I think all the conversation is around Aces and around Prano. Even though Prano sat as the IGL and the support player, I guarantee you he has been very happy to be playing a lot of Book on this map so far. Gives him a chance to get a little bit fraggy, see what he can find. Here at least, Hot and Cold going to be the point of ingress where they're going to have to face him down. He finds Aces quickly combing him over with the Alder and drops away down to Office. No one downstairs and no one on Blue Window means he'll get away with murder there.
Big loss for Rogue there, taking that opening death, but Hot and Cold does take an awful lot of damage along the way. I think they were maybe hoping for a trade as a worst case scenario, but he's able to just drop himself away down the hatch and get himself out of danger. Now then, Prano looking to move into the space that Aces wanted to create to try and get himself inside of Aquarium. SSG holding this massively from downstairs. We've got Skies on Cool Vibe and we've got the Maestro has moved himself back upstairs into sight now, but that was 2 downstairs out of the 4 remaining. It's now just Rampy that's down there. That's not going to give them an option for any sort of explosive denial, given that he's on the Jaeger and he doesn't have any, but I'm sure they've got a plan in place for him to be able to impact this somehow. Yeah,
Prano was trying to get the wall opened up from afar as well, but just couldn't. There's someone still sat behind the bar who can very easily remove those X-Kairos off. Probably to be expected. It's normally why you have someone go up on the roof and get some of those X-Kairos down onto the quad wall, which by the looks of it is where Prano is moving his way up to now. Wants to start getting an angle in to force the man out from behind the bar, and we've just heard them go off and our ears there, straight onto that wall. We should be able to move them away. Currently jammed in, and now being shot off from downstairs. Prano going to be lamenting that because he's only got 2 left on side. Bosco finding another. Crying, making it 8 in the game as down goes Rampy. It's still a numbers disadvantage for Rogue overall though, Tim. 3 versus 4. It's looking a bit dicey than other rounds up previously until Cryan steps up and does that. 9 kills in 6 rounds. What a start for the man.
Cryan's absolutely flying at the minute. We know he's got the ability, and it's great to see it getting flexed here in the server, really finding one after another. Bosco's had a big round, to be fair. Not only did he keep part of that quad wall closed, but he also got himself a kill as well from main lobby. So, well played from him, but Rogue, they're now in control of the downstairs. Going to try and just nade out that spot behind bar to see if he can find his man, but Fultz is going to keep himself safe right over in the northeast corner of that room. There's the big nade though, almost does its job, and Fultz is now down to a tickle from death. Prano looking to move in and get the angle onto him. He might just have an opportunity here. He's very aware of the man on bars, but as Skies goes down, he's going to aggress in. He sees him, but he can't get the kill. It's all up to Fultz. 1v2, 8 seconds left to go. Can he hold on? No, I was just going to say, Rogue don't have the diffuser in hand, so there was potentially an opportunity for Fultz to just get out of there, but he wouldn't have known that. And as he moves in to make some sort of challenge, he gets shut down, and Rogue, they take the first half 4-2.
Prano was everywhere in that round as well, starting out on the Aqua balcony wall, trying to get the single wall between sites opened up, couldn't achieve that. Goes to the roof, tries to open up the courtyard, can't do that. So then gets inside the building, comes pushing in from penthouse theatre side, I believe, up through 90, straight down through VIP hallway, and unfortunately doesn't win out his ones, but keeping himself very busy in a supportive role, not just being the one who's resigned to sat on drones for the team, is making sure they're always looking to move forward. Whether or not that's a good thing is up for debate, I guess, in that sense, because they might have needed someone on drone to get them in, but that's where others can weigh in as and when they take critical areas of the map. We now get the side switch, and Rogue going onto the defensive side has started out with a very interesting pick for Prano. It's going to be the Capcan stepping in, Tim.
It is indeed, and it's always an interesting operator to watch out for. He can stack multiple of those multiple of those explosive devices on each door frame if he wishes, or he can put one on each of 5 doors. 2 will be enough to be lethal, but what it does mean is it slows down those pushers coming in, because obviously you've got to drone that little bit more carefully. As soon as you know there's a Capcan, you've got to try and recognise where those traps are. Moving through any door, you've got to maintain your focus and make sure that you're checking the door frames, both sides now, as it used to be that you could only put 1 per door frame, but now it's multiple, as many as you like. And it's just about trying to catch people out, especially in those late round situations. We see the Capcans being particularly troublesome, where players are having to start rushing towards the end of things.
Yes. Although these days, the entries it's being used for here, as you say, could be pretty lethal if SSG try and match the pace that Rogue had on their entry into the building. This time around it's Leon who's currently sat on site, so not a smoke player that you'd normally be used to seeing, as we saw from Skies back in the first half. Instead, it's going to be an Oryx. Does have those alarms to go off as soon as someone comes charging through. Not quite sure what he was aiming for there. The shelf, he just decided right then he had a bit of beef with that shelf and he needed to show it what's for. But with those alarms, the beepers as we call them, they're there above the windows, above the doorway to enable him to turn around and put his fire wherever they may be stepping in. So, although it's not quite smoke canisters to do the denial, it's still a decent gun and still has gadgets to help him with that purpose.
Still 5v5, we haven't got that entry kill yet. Leon's gone a little bit quiet the last couple of rounds in those terms. It's going to be Aces this time to find it onto Fultz, and Rogue get themselves off to a great start here on the defence. SSG really starting to feel like they're floundering a little bit here. Taking a good couple of first rounds, they really haven't been able to find any joy thereafter. Rampy, however, will take Aces down. It only takes a flick of a pixel to pop behind those double window barricades, and he's going to take his man down 4v4 halfway through the round.
Well, they'll often say don't re-peek. Once you've got a spawn peek or something of that nature, they'll be watching windows like hawks, and Rampy was just ready for aces to come up to double window and go for seconds. Couldn't quite find them, unfortunately taken out. 4 for 4 then, as we sit with 1 minute and 20 left on the clock. Right, Lion rings out one more time. If Bosco with one more charge on side, and they've still got a frag to make use of here, a couple of flashes in back pocket. They've got the tools to make a push work, but I think they're most fearful here about the roamers and the damage that players like Rips playing on that vigil can do to them later in the round.
Prano on the roaming Capcan thinks that there's maybe somebody inside a hooker, but there isn't at the minute. They've dipped out of there, and they're looking more towards kitchen window at the minute, looking to just try and get anything going to get inside a SSG here, but it just seems to be a little bit of a struggle, holding angles, just hoping to catch defenders out. Rampy knows there's somebody out ahead of him, but I don't think he's going to get any joy. Bosco manages to get onto the side door, and he's looking to pressure through to main lobby. But right now, Rogue, they're happy to hold their positions and just stay put. Leon's going to be full white flashed. He's going to be naded as well. That's not going to be a happy ending for Leon. Prano manages to find Rampy 3v3, but Skies is getting the diffuser down. If he can stick this is a big play. SSG just inside of the kitchen window. Get it completed. And this is not going to be an easy retake now for Rogue. They're going to need a run out of some sort more than likely, because they've got players outside of that kitchen window that are just going to sit there and wait for the sounds. Prano's going round to that pool entrance window, but I'd be very surprised if there isn't somebody sat watching it.
If he gets up to the window inside of Paul, I was going to say that could be massive for them, but I think they know there's also someone above. I want to say it was Hot and Cold who pulled back up here earlier on, and they want to get in contested. Bosco taking the firefight and bringing Prano down. Here comes challenger number 2 behind the DJ booth. Hot and Cold is spinning up some heat. Down go 2, and finally, the SSG getting themselves back on the board. 4-3 to Rogue.
Better round from SSG on the attack. They're able to get themselves one on the board. And that is what they needed to just slow things down, because it was starting to run away from them a little bit. Rogue had had a good few rounds in a row. I think they were up to 4 in a row to take them to 4-2. And SSG were just getting beaten up a little bit. But as soon as they get onto the attack, it becomes theirs. Managed to get that 3-4. And that takes us into round number 8.
Alrighty. Penthouse Theatre, we step into the next one then, Tim. We saw this coming out in the first half from SSG. I think you quoted it. It was like Swiss cheese. Why do we always say Swiss cheese?
Because it's full of holes.
Is it always specifically 4?
What?
Is it full of holes? Well, it said 4 holes.
Full of holes. They don't manufacture Swiss cheese to have specifically 4 holes.
Even Siano said he heard 4 as well. You're losing the plot.
I'm not losing the plot. It's my accent. It gets thicker as I get tired, so...
What did you say, sorry?
I'm not repeating. I will try and make sure that I pronounce my words properly. It's
full of and 4 sound really similar, apparently.
It's full of holes.
Yes, it is full of holes. But why Swiss cheese specifically? Why does that have to be the one with holes in? Why not French cheese?
Well, I don't know. It's
German cheese.
The make of cheese that's full of holes.
Spanish cheese.
Well, they aren't real cheeses, you see, Des.
Aren't they?
Problem. No.
I guarantee there's somewhere in Spain, like a little local village that's got something called Spanish cheese.
Okay.
It won't be called Spanish cheese, it'll be whatever it will be called in Spanish, but it will be Spanish cheese.
Espanol.
That's what's cheese in Spanish.
Oh.
Oh, we could do French.
You're testing me now.
Francais fromage.
There you go.
There you go, we can get away with that.
We've done it. We've got there, we've got there.
That is what a year of being in France for EU has taught us, how to say French cheese. What a world and a time we live in. Let's look at how this round is playing out. That's enough crap talk for the last minute and a half or so. We have got the Kaid on side in this round. Tim, we spoke about it back in the first half. You can electrify off that VIP wall and make it a bit of a nuisance for teams to get it open. I remember Kayak when G2, when he used to get outside the door inside a Hall of Fame, chuck it up to the kind of weird, like, what are they, like Ripley kind of curtains that are sat above that wall and chuck it outside the map.
Exactly that. It's like
it's a Ripley
canopy. No, it's like a canopy.
No, I looked at the
Ripley
name. It's Ripley curtain, yeah.
It's just a canopy that's been brought back in, and it's hanging down, and you can get some really nice placements in there. I think it's one of them that it's probably had its day in pro play now, because they just know that it's there. You'll get away with it in ranked, give it a go, but inside of pro play, they just know to check there and they deal with it.
You ain't got to invite me more than once to try something in ranked, Tim. I'll give it a good go. The mirror being shot out here on 9. 90 because it was looking in towards VIP. They've got the Twitch on side. I keep on speaking about my love and admiration for Twitch and just how much he can get done in a round. Sky's here getting rid of that mirror window is going to make life a little bit tougher for Rips, who now has to expose himself to try and challenge onto the breach that has been opened up by the Maverick. So not bad as a start by SSG. If they get this VIP control, they can look towards Hall of Fame, they can drop the hatch, they can play the window, all the wonderful things that Rogue did on their attack earlier on.
This is just trying to see if he can get himself a peek out towards kitchen window, just try and relieve a bit of the pressure from the push. For the time being, he's going to continue looking underneath to see if he can get any opener ramp. He's going to take a little bit of damage there. Red ping's come out, and that is just going to signal exactly where one of those operators is, but it's just not accessible to the Rogue players. Here comes a challenge, though. Rampy's going to come head-to-head with Crying. He's got Aces in support. They can't find the man, and Rampy's dipped his self back to Courtyard, but ultimately Crying does check the angle, does find the kill, and that's going to be the opener for Rogue here. They're looking to get themselves that advantage back. They want it back up to 2 rounds, but the upside-down repel is going to find Crying in return. Rips manages to find Bosco, and we're now in a 4 versus 3.
I really saw a world where he was going to chuck that straight. Did he? Did it die somewhere? I didn't see, but Leon gets one back. A 4v2, a 4v1. Rogue is jumping through it. I did have the fear when he threw it through the mirror window, it hit the electrified wall, and indeed it did. Got fried. As the same way Leon's has just been fried by Hot and Cold before Rips tears Hot and Cold asunder, takes the round for Rogue.
There we go. That is going to be Rogue going 5-3 now and heading towards victory on Coastline. The problem that SSG have got, when they go into map 2, obviously it's their map choice, it's Clubhouse, we expect them to do well there, absolutely, but they're going to be going in against a Rogue team that I'm certain will know that if they get the full 3 points, it pushes them towards that upper bracket. So they are going to be against it at that point. As soon as Rogue get this first map on Coastline, it gives them a sniff. It gives them a taste of that upper bracket, and they're really going to be fighting for it then. They're going to go tooth and nail after that second map. So I think we're in for a hell of a competition on Clubhouse if Rogue win this, especially in the fashion that they're winning it at the minute. 5-3, they're starting to really stretch the legs a little bit, just get a little bit of space in between these two teams, and SSG, they could be on for a tough second map. I mean, at the end of the day, they're going through to the playoffs, but it could impact the position at the final stages of the table.
I haven't got the stats to hand, but I know that Rogue did used to play Clubhouse a good time ago as well. Like, I can think of the number of times I've seen Aces swing on a mute out of the CC breach, just trying to hit someone on the spawn very early in the round. It was ridiculous. He loves that kind of swing in play, so much so that it's evidence that they like playing on the map, that they've got this thing they always seem to do time and time again. Can they beat SSG, the pioneers of the real creatively imaginally named SSG Rome? Time remains to be told. We'll see when it happens, when it comes into it. For now, we've got to get through Coastline. Potentially only 2 rounds remaining, but given how SSG have been playing, I'd wager there's still a couple more to come onto their side just yet. Aces once again looking for trouble, this time looking outside of Aqua, hoping someone might show their face, but right now no one is there, so he will dart back away, down towards White Stairs, down towards Leon, who's holding inside of the lobby.
We've got what looks like the Wamai of Crying down in service once again. Got himself the opening kill from there last time onto Rampy, who he found inside a Courtyard. He's going to get pressured very quickly from both sides if he's not careful. There's one stacking up towards window. There's one stacking up towards service entrance. Crying looks like he's going to play his life out here. He wants to hold on to this. The drone comes in, not sure if it sees him. The flashbang gets eaten up and Crying manages to escape towards that main lobby. SSG possibly could have opened that up just to cut him off, but they've decided not to, and all the pressure maintains back over on the north side.
He does. He becomes the Twitch drone, sweeping around as it so often does, looking for any would-be gadgets or indeed players that might be tucked in. I'm pretty sure they haven't spotted the man inside the lobby here. Oh, that was unfortunate. They shot out the Iana Gemini with the shock drone. Not quite the best bit of team coordination, clearly just all too hungry to get rid of that default cam. Now Fault steps in, still being droned in and Crying, as we mentioned, quietly tucked in, not spotted by the shock drone, could strike a lot of damage. If they step out into this corridor too freely, he'll be finding himself a freebie.
That's it. I'm just not sure that they're aware of his presence there. I think he might have been misdrawn a little bit, and as you say, he could well come back to bite them if he's able to move through kitchen. Rips is going to hold them off from the bottom of Cool Vibe stairs and then take up a position above, try to hold on to those verticals. Bosco, nearly catches his man inside of service, takes a little pot shot through the soft wall. I think he's aware. They must have picked Crying up at this point because Bosco is paying close attention now to that bathroom door.
That's just a sixth sense to think as a player. You know if someone's making a move and challenging you, there's a good chance you're about to get swung by someone else to try and either play for a trade or just to have you distracted. I don't think they still know where Cryan is. It was more to say we expect it to come through. At this point, Cryan has still not moved his feet. It's been a solid, minute and a half now since he's moved as Leon finds the opener onto Hot and Cold. No trigger for Cryan to move yet, but keep an eye on him because when he does start moving, he could well spell absolute disaster for the side of SSG. I say that, finally gets himself droned out.
Stood right on top of it for a moment or two, but as you say, he's just going to keep himself behind reception. But the thing is, Des, if they don't deal with him, he's still going to be able to walk in behind them. Most attention now from SSG coming in from the pool entrance, looking to get onto the default plant spot. Bosco does find Rips and finds, it's Rampy actually finding Leon. Aces is a little bit in no man's land here in the corridor, just trying to get himself around, his vision being obscured. He's going to burst through the wall as the Oryx to find himself some sort of escape. Rogue trying to hold on, but Skies is able to get that plant down successfully, and we find ourselves now 2 versus 3 with Rogue on the retake, trying to push towards pool door, reset the Aruni laser gate, which they will do, but there's one still in there, Prano. It's Skies who pops out and gets the kill, and it's all down to Cryan, the last man. Finds the first, can he find 2 more? He's going to have to do it quickly. He's got about 18 seconds if he wants the time left to deactivate the diffuser. He's going to start the process. He's just baiting it out at the minute. Is he going to come off? He's trying, no, he comes off and goes to find the kill. I weren't sure if he was going to stick that for a second. Didn't have time. Fultz finds the last, and that is going to be SSG keeping it close. 5-4.
I think Fultz definitely would have found him there no matter if he had stuck it or not, but it did come down to about that 1.5 second mark where you start sweating a little bit, but good time to get in. I mentioned it could have been 2 more rounds and would have seen Rogue going through this one 7-3, but SSG now fighting their way back in with a good execute inside of Sunrise. Hookah Billiards, we move back up to the 2nd floor. And I think with the way it's been so back and forth between the two, Tim, it's hard to call which way this map goes, to be completely honest.
It really is. SSG are absolutely capable of taking this. I still think, given that it's Rogue's pick, I think they'll probably get this done. They've got 2 more rounds to find. They're back up to Hooker and Billiards. And I've just got a feeling that once they get onto map point, maybe SSG, we just see the fight drop off a little bit. I could be wrong. We haven't seen Hooker out of Rogue so far, so again, SSG going a little bit into the unknown here. We've seen a full rotation. SSG doing pretty good on the attack. Rogue, I think they might have just saved their best site to last.
Maybe so. I've also just had an update that FaZe have won over in their series against Cyclops, so that's kind of to be expected. Just the 2 points that they were looking for here. Now, what that actually does to the standings is a question I'm going to have to ask myself and dive into our DMs, so I'll scroll past the pictures of us putting together in bed.
It puts FaZe on to 6 points. So FaZe goes on to 6 points. So that puts them 1 ahead of Spacestation. So currently, FaZe sit in 2nd, Spacestation 3rd, Rogue 4th.
So Rogue cannot catch FaZe. So FaZe definitely finish in 2nd.
Due to FaZe beating Rogue.
Yes. So this is now the battle for 3rd place.
Yes.
Which is a big deal, because 3rd place, let's not forget, goes to the upper bracket. You get a 2nd life. 4th place, they go straight down into the lower bracket.
That's it. Spacestation can still overtake FaZe. They can go back into 2nd place, depending on the result of the game. But for now, Rogue, they are going to be eyeing up that 3rd spot, and it is going to require a victory here against SSG. So Leon, he's going to be trying to hold down Sunrise for the time being. This is a defensive Hooker, trying to just hold down and prevent that vertical play coming in. We've seen this more and more over this week, Des, with the number of nade kills that are being achieved from underneath. Quite often, it used to be you'd have your player down there with a nitro, you know, they were looking for that explosive kill themselves. Now, it's get a good gun down there and just try and prevent anybody playing underneath.
Still go back to the old idea I've had for an operator for ages, which is being able to lay out like a mat on the floor that's like bulletproof, nade-proof, whatever you want to call it. Give you a safe spot, protect you from the nades below. Feels like it'd do great in this meta. Did you see, by the way, they released the little teaser for the next season earlier on the account?
So on the Twitter, yeah.
Some Japanese writing. I'm like, okay, what's coming?
Starting to ramp up now. Very exciting.
Oh, you know me, mate. If it's Japanese, I'm dead excited already.
Yeah, I just get very excited about the season reveals. I really do look forward to them.
And then you got the year reveal the next day. In fact, it's worth stating for those of you at home that are wondering, on Saturday, next week, of course, we have the season reveal. So you'll see Year 7 Season 1. The next day, we have the full Year 7 reveal. So 2 panels for you to feast your eyes on and a whole lot of esports where you might see plays like this, featuring Rampy, bringing down Leon as the entry kill. The Jaeger off the board, hardly the most pivotal member to find removed from the board. Once his gadgetry has already been placed, his value drops off massively like an anchor into the sea. The other members on the team, maybe less so the Melusi or the Mute, but definitely looking in towards the Wamai and the Legion who have got rechargeable gadgets. Those are the ones ideally you want alive for longer.
Prano just roaming, aims his way back into sight. He's going to find his toes taken off though as the kill comes in from Bosco up on the rooftop. SSG are definitely looking to level things up 5-5 here. It's 2 versus 5 inside of the round. It's all up to Rips and Aces to try and turn this one around. Hot and Cold's going to go in, start getting that diffuser down, and the objective play is something that SSG have done so well so far on the defense. Somehow Rips manages to find his shot on a fadeaway, and all of a sudden, Des, this starts looking possible. 25 seconds left to go. Fultz finds Rips. It's all up to Aces, and it seems to be slipping away from Rogue despite that little bit, that glimmer of hope that they had. He's moving around. He knows the diffuser's down. He's just trying to make himself as difficult to hit as possible, but Bosco, he still finds his man, and that's SSG leveling things up 5. You're too kind.
Now kiss.
No. Coming into round 11, we're going to be going to kitchen and service by the looks of things. SSG have already won the attack on this site back in round 7. Rogue were unable. It was their first attempt to hold on to a site defensively, and SSG turned them inside and out. Sky's got in through the kitchen window, got a plant down just inside of there. Leon got naded out inside a site. It was a little bit of a nightmare.
Absolutely. It's all about what I spoke about in the first half as well, with the smoke doing a lot of the hard yards. They haven't got one here. So, with that in mind, there's obviously no Skies to go swinging back and forth because Rogue are the ones playing inside a kitchen. Last time round, I believe it was, I forget who it was this time round, but I know it was an Oryx doing it, just playing inside around kitchen. We mentioned about in fact it was Leon playing with the wee-woos that are going to sit above. I tell you what, that is definitely coming from playing rank with Fresh too much. So he goes, oh, you got the wee-woos, mate. I'm just like, please. What else does he say? Mozzie. Oh, you're picking the Moz, Des. That's the other one he says. Moz.
All based on the sounds that they make.
The wee-woos.
Wee-woos. The proximity alarm.
Such a complicated call-out, isn't it?
Much more so than prox alarm.
What other funny ones has he got? I can't think of any more.
Imagine.
Well, we'll see either way. Looking in towards the cat can again as well, because that featured last time. It was Prano bringing it, so there's a bit of a change around as to who's playing on what in the team. But in terms of where they've been positioned out and about, we spoke about it already. You can catch people if they're trying to be a little bit too keen on the entry, which is why SSG will likely take things a little bit slow here. Get the drone work done, find out what needs to happen next, and not get yourself caught out by some cat can traps too early on.
Leon's just going to be inside a sight on the Maestro. He's going to be trying to hold things down. It wasn't the Maestro that he played last time around. That's going to be a little bit of a mix-up. We've got a few new operators creeping in here. We've got Aces on the Alibi, which we've seen previously. Great gun. The Storm able to roam around as well, using, of course, those decoys that he puts out. They will ping out if shot or moved through. So a little bit of an intel operator as well. Put them inside the windows, make it difficult for people to hop in without announcing their presence. Prano going to have a little challenge up into theatre there. Doesn't quite find his man. Does take a chip of damage in either direction, but it's all falling apart. There's Bosco and Fultz managed to get 2. Aces shuts down Rampy. It's 4v3, and SSG once again getting themselves an advantage. Aces tries to push. He tries to do something, but he just gets hammered as he steps foot into the Hall of Fame. They know he's there. They're going to chase him down because he's been hit, he's hurt, and he's only got a fraction of health left. Prano has come to the rescue. He's trying to help his buddy out. He manages to get Bosco. Can he get himself another? He sees the man. He pre-fires the corner. Not going to find the shots. Out goes the impact nade just to get him back to safety. But here come SSG again.
Bloody hell, a trade there coming in between Hot and Cold and Prano as well. But Hot and Cold has done the damage. Aces gone. Prano gone. Leon, the only one left standing. And Maestro, not quite the stealthiest of operators in the world, finds himself in a 1v2. SSG have got time. They've got Skies running around on his drone here to try and find out exactly where Leon is. And once it's been identified, that is where the hard work begins. They've got to then go and chase him down and win out a 1 versus 2. And that Owler can be a nightmare, especially when Fultz is only sat on about 35 HP. A couple of bullets and he's donezo.
Leon, last man left inside his sight. He's got the gun to do it. We know that. He's on the outer. But SSG, they've got a decent amount of time here. 25 seconds left to go. 2v1. They can have a little drone, find exactly where he is. They must be confident.
Sprint.
This point. Leon.
Okay.
Looked like he was just going to stretch his legs there, runs towards the door and gets cut down by the man who's waiting. That's going to be another SSG round. It puts them on map point and it gives them the opportunity to take Coastline away from Rogue and guarantee themselves a point in that all-important battle for the upper bracket.
It's kind of weird as well because they had the Evil Eyes position where they could see what was going on. You likely heard them whirring around behind your head. No, that wasn't a bug of any kind, in case you missed the update recently where Bulletproofs, for example, can now move around and fire an EMP blast. Evil Eyes and Yokai drones can be used when or by a dead teammate. You can't activate the gadget and use the laser, for example, or the sonic blast, but you can move it around, you can look through it. So in that case, his teammates were able to watch the door for him. Not quite sure what the call was in terms of where he was aiming to go. Was he hoping to get above, for example, or what? But one of those I look at and think that could have been done so much differently if you played it a bit more passively and just let them come to you because you had the information advantage. Never mind though, as you say, Tim, this is now match point for SSG. It gives them a critical point in the series, and I'm pretty sure we worked it out earlier on. As long as SSG get one map in this series, Rogue cannot catch them no matter what happens, because at this point SSG are 2 points ahead. If Rogue were to win 2-1 overall, Rogue get 2 points and SSG get 1. For those of you who can do a little bit of maths, that means SSG are still 1 point ahead of Rogue and will be the ones sitting in third place. So, it's far from saying that this is done and dusted for Rogue. They've got a chance here to fight their way back in for overtime, but it's still going to be a tough ask all the way through the series.
Coming into the action phase of what could be our last round. It could also head us into overtime, depending who can pick this up. It's going to be a Blue Bar Sunrise defense for Rogue. And they need this, as you said, Des, if they want to keep challenging for that upper bracket, if they want to leave themselves in a position where they can leapfrog SSG. But SSG going very, very well so far. 5 attacking rounds, they are 4-1. Rogue only able to lock down Penthouse and Theatre so far, and they're not going to go there again. They're going to be over on the other side of the map, the exact opposite really, other side, other floor. Everything is different for Rogue. Let's hope that the outcome for them can be different than the last few.
Like the Pranos actually stepped across to playing on the smoke now as well. It's the first time in their lineup it feels like they've had a properly supportive comp in a way. Well, I say comp, really, he's the only one that I look at and think, yeah, that's supportive. You've got the RX of Aces charging around, Cryan looking to get busy out in the map as he's been doing all half. Rips, one of the rare few not using a DMR at this point, it feels like. We've seen a lot of those throughout the day and the week overall. And Leon will be out and about on the Malusi as well.
Pretty sure Cryan's just used an impact nade to clear out an air jab there that was placed above the luggage door. I could be wrong. When we come out of this scope, we might see. No, it's still there. So it wasn't used for that. Leon is going to be down. SSG might just give themselves a advantage, but Rampy, no, he gets caught chasing that kill, and he's going to be taken out from VIP, but this could be dangerous for Rogue. Hot and Cold gets straight up there. He knows there's an opportunity. He's looking for them. Sees in Theatre, gets a little bit lucky with the spray onto Aces there. I think he was actually chasing Cryan. That's who he was having the battle with on the door. And Aces, as a poor bystander, just gets gunned down.
Unfortunate there, yeah. Operation Save Leon not going so effectively for Rogue here. I think he will just bleed out on 90. No one going to be able to get to him in time. More just playing as a temporary drone for the team. And finally, will find himself bleeding out. 4 versus 3 then for SSG. And looking towards the Roamers here. Again, Prano on this smoke, as far away from sight as you can arguably be here. He's sat just on the other side of this wall, around courtyard, down inside the main stairwell. Isn't playing with the FMG, has the SMG instead, plus the shotgun on side, of course, to open up rotates and so on and so forth where needed inside of the site. SSG starting to square up potentially what looks like here, an office side execute with the plant behind Blue Bar.
Rips just playing a little bit tentatively there. SSG have now got their access to site. Bosco, that 6th Dance just kicking in again, knows there might be a push coming in from security. It's Prano who's moved around onto that flank, but if he's not careful, he might get himself caught out. He's rotating back to site after the smoke canister comes in to obscure the view, so he's not going to be able to hold the plant away. Bosco does find Cryan on the drop down. It's all over, Des. Fultz gets Prano. It's 4v1. Skies is implanting the diffuser. It's all up to Rips. He's got it all all to do. There is nothing, no way he can stop this plant going down. He needs to find kills. He's going to be peppered on the Cool Vibe stairs. Takes him down to about 40 HP. He's just trying to get something going here, trying to find anything he can. He's got about 20 seconds left to realistically do something here, and that something is going to have to be 4 kills. He gets gunned down as he drops the hatch, and that is going to be the first map going to SSG. They lock down Coastline 7-5.
There was a little bit of a rocky journey through SSG in that map, the second half of the first half, so you guess you could call it the second quarter, looking a bit dicey as Rogue went on a spree of rounds in their favour, but it may have taken all